least I remember to test that before we
True.
went live, so that we wouldn't have any scuff today.
True.
As soon as I say that, everything's gonna break. I've said that.
That's
That
how
was
it
go live.
goes, man.
Welcome to Discussing Tabletop, everybody.
Scuff.
Hey.
I get enough scuff when I watch Elise stream, so
Oh god. Yeah,
I don't need more from here.
I just usually pick up highlights on that one.
I'll put her up on the background sometimes when I'm doing stuff.
That's the thing with playing people that I just most find nowadays are I have those that I put in the background and those that catch up stuff.
Yeah.
Alright. Welcome everybody to Discussing Tabletop. Hour later. That's on me.
True. It's your fault.
It's not my fault. It's all my fault. Anyway. We're going to be diving into some interesting topics today. I did keep the deeper discussion topic to be determined because it's been a long day for me. I don't know if I want to, depending on how long we go, I know we can always come up with something.
True.
So, I'm kind of... Anyway, shall we just dive into the mess this week? It's always fun. Unless,
God.
Well, how is everybody feeling? Are we ready to dive into the...
I'm feeling okay. I'm feeling mostly refreshed
Mm-hmm.
from when I woke up at 4 in the morning today.
I took an hour nap, and ever since then I've been kind of out of it.
That's what naps do to you.
I took like a half an hour one when I got home because I had a headache and took some pills.
I mean, yes and no. I honestly think it's just I'm having a bit of pain spike, but chronic pain, yay.
Woo.
Alright, so Sonic and Magic in Secret Lair format. Guess we can start with
Two
that.
things that go together so well: Sonic and Magic the Gathering. There's a lot of overlap.
I mean, I think the thing that's really bad here is the one Secret Lair is completely unique cards, and it's with Secret Lairs, I'm more hesitant on that one because it's sort of like,
Yeah.
at least especially because these are very limited print runs, at least in like a full,
they're not even
set,
print to demand anymore.
Yeah,
They
or
haven't
like Commander deck,
a while.
a reasonable amount of copies can get out there of a card.
So like, I guess because I don't remember, do they still like reprint the unique cards as official Magic cards, or did they stop doing that?
Technically, yes, but they're so far behind, and there's so many they haven't done. I would say.
So I know they did.
No.
They reprinted Rick,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Rick Grimes.
It's effectively a no at this point in time.
Lovely. So I guess I'll start. These cards like legitimately upset me. To a degree I don't think a Secret Lair has before, specifically the Friends and Foes Secret Lair.
Yeah, they're the mechanically unique ones.
The one I want to specifically focus on, because the rest are kind of whatever. Super State is pretty disgusting, but the one I want to point at is Shadow the Hedgehog's card, which feels like a wild sentence to say. He's like fine. You know, he's got haste. When him or another creature enters with flash or haste dies, you draw a card. That's fine. Chaos control. Each spell you cast has split second if mana from an artifact was spent to cast it. Now, split second is a mechanic that's only been printed about 19 times in Magic's history, and it's a mechanic where if you play it, as long as it's on the stack, everything in that stack cannot be countered.
Mm-hmm.
This might be the strongest Magic card they've ever printed.
Yeah. As it says in the card, as long as it's in the stack, players can't cast spells or activate abilities that aren't mana abilities. It means you cannot respond to stuff. Which means
there are so many ways to get mana from artifacts.
Yeah. There
is a card that they finally broken. It's a card that's relatively like garbage.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Mycosynth Lattice. It's traditionally not a great card because it just makes all your permanents into artifacts.
Hey, I like playing that.
Hey, guess like you got Shadow. You can make all your lands artifact lands and just proc chaos control every time you tap a thing.
They've
done it. They've finally done it. They've broken this mediocre artifact card.
Yeah.
Shadow is both the funniest Magic card I've ever seen, and also like literally maybe a war crime.
It's because it like
Who is?
The Shadow the Hedgehog card.
Oh, okay.
Also, it's a
I thought you said
theming
different
fail
card.
because he doesn't have a gun, and that's his whole thing.
I can see why Magic wouldn't want to have him printed with a gun.
They've got
Guns.
plenty of guns. They have plenty of
plenty of
guns in
guns.
Do they?
Magic.
Never
They
mind.
do.
then. Yeah,
They
that
do.
is dumb then.
Like, they have a lot of very gun-based things, but for actual guns, they actually did have a set with them. Was it Portal 3? I think?
Yeah.
No, well, Portal 2. One of the portals had, like, just
Yo,
people that are,
had,
they're
like, actual
musketeers.
just-
They have muskets,
Yeah.
granted.
I think some of the Doctor Who cards also just have like M16s on them.
Sure, because they're, like, people from
Because it's Doctor Who, and it's people from Earth.
I mean, consider anything from Warhammer was probably happening.
Yeah, or like the Wild West hat set.
They probably have some gun-based things.
I
Or they put
imagine
their
there were
fingers,
guns
like,
there.
in gun form to shoot fingers.
Now that would be better.
Let's see.
I
Also,
think-
I'm scared that there's literally a website that allows you to search for key concepts in art, and there are a lot of guns. Yeah, okay.
like, I think the best thing about the Secret Lair is all these cards are really good, and then there's Tails, who sucks. Like,
Yeah.
maybe the worst card I've ever seen.
Yeah. In fact, there's a bunch of Transformers cards that have guns. Just
Well, I
actual
think there is
guns.
just a Transformer in Magic that
Certified
becomes
guns.
a gun, right?
Yeah.
I think they printed him.
Mhm.
Yeah, Miles Tails Power is maybe the worst card I've ever seen. 'Cause it truly is. If a vehicle, it's just like if a vehicle enters, draw a card.
If it
It's like,
flies, or if it
does
doesn't
it-
fly,
yeah,
now
like-
it does.
This card sucks.
I guess I could see
Maybe
some
there's
like
a build
limited.
around it.
I think there could be some limited play in like a weird vehicle flying deck, but it would probably still be
There's just also like
bad.
better cards to interact with vehicles.
Mhm.
Also, white blue is kind of a like not the best color combo for vehicles.
Yeah, the Super
Oh,
State's kind of
apparently there are Warhammer 40k cards. I don't know. When did they do that?
40k
did
cards
Commander
were
decks.
like 2 years ago, I think.
Mhm.
They're very expensive now because they're very limited
They
print.
did like 2 years ago, and then they did Doctor Who like last year. So I think you
The Doctor
one
Who
Commander.
ones, I think, are
Yeah.
full of mostly cheap cards.
I don't know why I kind of thought they'd want to like limit guns in their thing. That was a dumb thought I had. Anyway,
Well,
yeah, the
again,
Super
it's
State,
because a lot of it's
Mhm.
fantasy based.
it's fantasy
Yeah.
guns mostly.
I mean that's the thing. But my point though is that they're like in secret lairs, like the that one. They're just guns. So that's why I'm like, oh okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, like
the rest are weird. They're fine.
Eggman's kind of funny,
Yeah.
I guess.
I think
Like
in Super State, like it's very good, but I always like there's like the draws of conscription. It's like 2 more that.
It's like like all these cards are fine, and then there's Shadow the Hedgehog with a very obscure mechanic that most people have probably never seen, and a lot of people aren't really gonna probably know how to resolve properly.
Yes.
It's only been printed 18 other times,
Probably mostly from the single set, the original set came from.
and it's never been printed in this way that a creature has it and gives it to everything.
Mhm. I'm just gonna say the rest of these, I don't know if I can really look with them. They're like what they
They're like
reprints.
reskinned equipments.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, they're fine. It's just like
Oh look, we got another Lightning Greaves. They keep making those.
it's a staple
Maybe
for a lot
maybe
of,
Magic's most reprinted equipment, other than
it's just become such a weird staple commander because it's very useful there, and like yeah, it shows up. That's what's pretty big on there. I understand those, but it is just silly.
oh, it's alright because it's all Swiftfoot Boots are also here in the secret lair. Because of course it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just like I'm tired. of this.
I don't know. Part of me feels like they'd. I mean, no, they wouldn't. I was about to say, well, it'd be better for long term, but I was basically going to say, I feel like well, okay. Let me rephrase my statement, and then it will be better. I think it'd be better for the company if they literally just did like fewer runs of like new things, and did like fewer bigger runs. Like I remember that's the whole thing with Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like they didn't like send stuff out like every other week.
Magic is in a weird state right now because its 60 card formats are very much dying out because of the rate they release new things. Because they're releasing new stuff which pushes older stuff out quicker, meaning it can't be played in those formats.
Yeah. Basically, the thing is, when they were releasing stuff at a reasonable rate, there still was power creep, but it was a very, very slow power creep. They've accelerated the power creep pretty heavily, and that also just damages other older legacy formats in some pockets.
Yeah.
And especially both the... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, you go first. I thought you were...
I was going to say, it also had... doing things like the straight-to-modern sets they did really hurt modern, and also did some damage to legacy and vintage, too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, no, that is a big problem. Where's it gonna go with this? Basically, yeah, it also just hurts people who, because, you know, even on the secondhand market, everything, you know, you have to pay for everything. So if someone wants to update their deck, they have to pay for it. If their deck breaks. So basically just creates this ever-increasing budget on people who actually want to play semi-competitively.
It truly is why I prefer... the only form of Magic I like to play is Commander, because it is an eternal format aside from like the couple of cards that are banned.
So,
yeah,
there's something I can move on to that we can kind of shift to in this conversation.
Commander rules?
It's the new Commander formats.
Oh, there's new formats.
Yes, they've announced two new formats. A version of Commander that's sort of Commandery, built out of a play booster box. So it's a booster box.
So that format's dead on arrival because I don't know anyone who buys play booster boxes.
That's expensive. And the other one is basically two-headed giant Commander, which I mean is fine. It's just adapting two-headed giant.
People have been doing basically that for a long time, anyways.
That's what I thought too. But yeah, no, the
booster box one is dead on arrival. Yeah. No one buys those.
You buy a single play booster box, choose a commander from it, construct a 60-card deck out of it with one of the commanders at it. But it doesn't have to be singleton, and it doesn't have to be your commander's identity.
That's not commander.
That's what I was thinking too.
That's not commander. That's
not
just
commander.
You're playing standard, but you have a commander.
Yes. If it was more commander, I understand. But the thing is, I understand why they did that because they wanted to like introduce more people into the concepts of standard and stuff too. So they're like, we could play with the commander.
Like the commander zone is maybe one of the best mechanics in Magic, but the appeal of commander is the fact that it's eternal, and you know what you're putting in your deck already.
Mm-hmm. I think the big advantage in Commander, too, is being a singleton format means that a lot of that power creep is mitigated by you can only have one copy of it.
Yeah. Imagine if you could have 4 Heuristic Studies in a Commander deck.
Insane.
Or 4, like, of the worst Heuristic Study cards.
Yeah. Just... It makes you have to spread things out, try different things, and experiment in lots of ways. And certainly speaking, there are big Commander staples. I mean, we see Sol Ring everywhere.
Oh, it's Sol Ring and Arcane Signet are required in the Commander deck.
Yeah.
I don't particularly enjoy putting them in there, but they're required.
Yeah. I have to mention that to Joe. He was building his own Commander deck, and I don't know if he's got a Sol Ring or a thing.
Put a Felwar Stone in there. It's like the more fun version of one of them.
Yeah. He put together basically this was the whisper down the line of it. He tried the food-based halfling precon
Ooh.
from Lord of the Rings.
That one's good.
Built his own version of that, and then he's now built a commander with the green-white Bilbo in front of it. Put some other food
It's a
cards
good one.
Yeah. So he did a food deck, and it's a pretty decent
Hey,
food
food
commander
decks
deck.
are fun.
Yeah. And I'm like, yeah. But I probably said that but that's a side note of getting Joe has always been resistant to Commander, and I'm like, I think he's finally getting into it because he built his own, you know?
Commander is... There's a reason Commander's the most popular way to play Magic. I'll just say that.
I'll say this too. Kind of been playing more lately and trying some different things with some standard Commander. I can see why I enjoy Commander more. The 40 hit point buff is definitely one of those things. You feel like I could be more aggressive, and I don't have to get punished as much for it. That's one of those things that's important. Plus, I guess the thing entirely with the singleton format and stuff like that, it feels like it's a lot more better for, like, I'm a very singleton-heavy person when I play one of the more legacy formats. I build, like, a more modern legacy or vintage deck.
Another reason I like Commander is, truthfully, because it is singleton, you see some weird cards show up that you would, never think someone would play this.
Yeah, I mean, like when you can't increase your odds of getting a specific card, you have to build around a lot more options and a lot more different combos. So I could totally see that being more fun. And
being a big deck, being a 100-card deck, well, you get 99 if you get your commander. That still does mean a different.
Sometimes 98 because sometimes you have two commanders.
Yeah. But the larger the deck, it means you need to kind of build in strange options and bots and stuff in it.
Like obviously, your staples. If you're playing blue, you're obviously going to put a Swan Song in there, a Counterspell, a Cyclonic Rift. But you're going to see some weirder stuff in there usually, which you're not going to see in this play booster box version.
Look, I'm not going to lie. I picked up a crab deck that was actually pretty good, but it was just all the crabs from Magic except for a couple of them.
My favorite deck is my Mr. House deck, which all I do is just roll dice. That's how I play it. I just roll dice and make things, and it's really stupid and fun.
It was just crabs and all those artifacts that like you call creatures out to get bonuses for them. So that's all it was. And I'm like, this actually does work, but it's stupid. Crab. It was fun. Yeah, look, I'm not gonna lie. One of those other formats is probably gonna make its way in there. I don't know.
One of these formats I think will do well. The other I think will maybe be played 1 or 2 times, and then never talked about again.
Yeah,
just because play booster boxes are stupidly overpriced.
They're overpriced, and just the play boosters. The more I look at them, the more I'm like, I just don't like these as like a. If I'm gonna do anything like draft or pre-construct, like I usually like. I don't like draft. I like you pick up like 6 or 7 packs, make a deck.
Yeah, I mean, I bought some play boost, just like some individual booster packs this week, and I got just buying a pack or 2 is fine. I prefer just to know what I want to buy already and just buy those. Chat, I know it's echoed a lot, but truthfully, just buy singles. It's cheaper.
Like, it's fun sometimes to buy packs, but...
And never buy cards before they're released, because the speculative market is too much, and you're just getting scammed. Also, man, you don't have to always swing for the like fancy anime full art cards, because those also are like horrifically overpriced for what they are. Most of the time, they're uglier, in my opinion.
It's just the fact that there's a lot of like weird prints and stuff like that now that like it actually is opposite of what they think. They think it's premium, and for me, it has an opposite effect than it did. Like, I'm a big collector of stuff. I like collecting, but I never collected promos because they were always weird and hard to get. And now that there's promos built in the set, I'm like, I don't want them.
There's one anime
copy of like basic stuff.
There's one anime card I plan on ordering. It is my 2 favorite Final Fantasy character. Is what's his name? Belthier and Fran from 12.
Yeah.
Because those are my 2 favorite Final Fantasy characters. I would get that card just to like have as a collectible thing. I mean, and also, I think it's only like $2 because the card's not particularly great.
I mean, it used to be a lot more special than this. Like, you know, now because there's so many like weird versions and stuff, it just isn't as special as it used to be.
No, it's not.
Now that you've got like 57 anime card variants, I mean, that's
You got the anime cards, you got the alt art, you got the full art, you got the foil full art. You got just too much shit.
Mm-hmm. But it just was like
collecting them all.
Because like there's like 3 anime versions of it that you could get as promos. And I'm like, oh,
I hope you know, guys. I hope if you want to collect all of the Final Fantasy cards, I'm gonna just tell you it's physically not possible because one of the cards only has 77 copies of it.
Yeah.
So good luck.
Yeah, there's one person who's done it.
Well, I've only seen one pooled, and they're trying to sell it for like $200,000.
That's too much.
I know there's one person who has it. I would not be surprised if that person is Post Malone. I don't remember who it was though.
Well,
Post Malone will probably buy one or two because he is rich.
Yep.
Anyways, that's kind of where we are. I wanted to talk about the 2, in quotations, new commander formats.
Yeah.
And then the Sonic Super Lair. Those are things. Let's talk about some...
I don't know. I was gonna make a joke, but I realized I don't actually know anything about Sonic the Hedgehog. Except I've seen the 3. I've seen the 3 movies. That's it.
Okay, I've seen the first one. I thought about seeing the others, but instead of that.
The third one is genuinely very good, and it amuses me greatly that apparently Keanu Reeves took it incredibly seriously and played the video game for Shadow the Hedgehog to get the character as accurate as possible.
It's a weird thing that like everybody like treats that just the right level of serious, but also funny enough for those movies to work very well. And I'm like, how do you do this?
Idris Elba, who plays Knuckles in the recording booth, wore like the big Knuckles gloves to get into character as well.
It's just something about that. It warms my heart.
It's inherently very funny.
Yeah, they found a good way to like do this stuff well, and I'm like, good on you guys, good on you. You saw what you were, and you produced this product well.
And they're shockingly good.
Yeah, but I was also gonna say like I haven't really done a lot of Sonic games. I did some Sega Genesis ones.
I've never played a Sonic game in my life.
I played 1, 3, and Sonic and Knuckles.
I've always looked at Sonic and been like, why wouldn't I just go play Mario?
I preferred Sonic to Mario.
I like both. I
was a Mario kid.
That's fair. Sonic Adventure 2... I actually only ever played Battle, but I heard that's worse. Although, I think it's just the soundtrack that's different.
I've seen people play Sonic Adventure 2. It looks like a very strange time.
The only reason I would play the Sega CD one, if I could, is that it had that banging Sonic Boom soundtrack.
True.
Yeah. Sorry, that's where... Mario tracks are iconic, Sonic tracks are rocket.
Yeah.
Sonic is like the cool, edgy one, kinda.
I'm trying to remember what that Sonic game was called, but basically probably the one I played the most was the one where you were like playing as 3 Sonic characters that you could switch between.
Well,
that's what
we have arcane subclasses.
They're mostly fine.
I'm looking at them right now.
I want to point out, because Arcane Cleric is fine, does what you think it is. I want to point out Arcane Archer really fast, in that,
I want to look at that. For
10, 15, and 18th level abilities, it's just 3 dice increases, and that's it. Like, this is the laziest subclass I've ever seen them produce, and they need to change it. This needs changed.
You just increase the dice.
Literally, at level 10, your Arcane Shot die becomes a D8. At level 15, it becomes a D10. At level 18, it becomes a D12. Oh boy, at 18th level, I'm doing 1 extra D12 damage, which is meaningless.
Yeah. No, I actually kind of agree that is... Because most cases, it would be in the original ability that says it increases at these levels.
They like
and
just
then you
gave
get new
up.
abilities.
I guess
Just like
you,
gave up
like-
after level 7.
Okay, you do gain additional arcane shot options, which I guess are like special abilities at those
Yeah, they're
levels.
the special shots, but also
again, like, it's just more options that you already had access to.
Yeah,
But-
there are no, because I think the other, I think previously there were level limitations on some of them, but there
Yeah,
aren't
there were.
this time around. So,
Yeah.
it's just so
so
goofy.
Yeah.
yeah, they definitely could add a little bit more. I feel like it needs a little bit something
This
extra.
one
especially
needs
for
Arcane
Capstone.
Archer needs the most work because it does feel like they just kind of gave up after level 7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it still has the problem of being a triple statter.
Yep, I still have that problem. It still has the problem of it's kind of still a little too limited
Yeah,
in your choice option.
Yeah.
like you need a lot more options. I
Yeah.
think for
It
Arcane
just
Shot to
isn't
be
like
worth
a
it.
fun subclass when you could play like I don't know what fighter subclass.
To be
exists in
fair, I
2024.
actually do think it's a fun subclass.
I think it's
one
fun
of
in
the few-
Baldur's Gate 3. Where they do it
Oh,
like
yeah,
much
they
better.
added it.
It's much better in Baldur's Gate 3.
Forgot about that. They added it in because it wasn't in the. I haven't played since then.
Yeah, all the subclasses they added are very good for Baldur's Gate.
They're like, how can we make this work and be better? And they like figured that out. And like, Wizards was like, someone made this work and be better. Let's ignore that.
Like they could just have used it really, or
Mhm.
taken some inspiration. It's just weird. Arcane Archer's always kind of been that subclass. I'm like, this is a little bit half-assed.
Yeah, they
Unfortunate.
definitely. I definitely feel that is. Yeah. No, I agree that the 10, 15, 18 is.
Because you seem to have a little bit more there.
Yeah, it just needs more. Like I actually think overall it's fine. I think it just needs more arcane shot options. Like
Mhm.
I actually think. I honestly that is the one thing that I always just felt like would have been like, the martial subclass, the one where you get all those things. That gives a lot of options.
Battlemaster, the best fighter
Battlemaster,
subclass.
thank you.
It's the
Yeah,
one where they
and-
shoved all the battle maneuvers into for some ungodly
Yep.
reason.
Yeah, and I feel like it should have at least that many options for your arcane shot.
Huh. I didn't think the tattooed monk would just be I'm a monk that cast spells.
So it's also like not very good.
Yeah, it's because you're like,
It has the same issue that the original Four Elements monk had, of like you have to spend your resources to cast like find traps.
yeah, find traps. Like
A spell I don't think
is
like
expensive.
I don't think I've ever seen someone cast find traps in a D&D game.
Lesser Restoration is so limited. It's not Lesser Restoration from other editions. Like it's so
No,
limited.
it's just like it's just a little too weak.
Yeah.
And Monk already has a lot of issues with like staying on par with the party at higher levels. Because
Sixth
Monk
level
is
for-
inherently a very like mad
Yeah.
class.
And that's the thing here. I'm looking 2 focus points at 6th level for
Yeah.
Misty Step or Visibility. It feels like you're getting behind already there because that's something that
Like-
a spellcaster's going to be using at 3rd level.
I
Granted-
also will say Misty Step is weird because it doesn't fit into what Monk's play setup is when you have increased movement and effectively a bonus action dodge already. So Misty Step's a weird choice. It's the best spell out of the 6th level choices here. Well, Invisibility actually I think is better.
Yeah, because Invisibility you kind of set up or something.
You can set up Invisibility a little more.
I don't know.
At 17th level, you get Counterspell though, which has been nerfed in this version of 5e to the point where I don't actually ever think it's worth taking.
You can fly 10 feet. That feels so great. And then also counterspell.
Hey, you know, I don't. The idea is here, it needs a little work. It's very, like, underpowered.
Looks like I also look at the, like, 11th level one, I'm like, for 3 points you gain resistance and advantage to one type of saving throw for a minute.
Sick.
Yeah, feels underwhelming. I'm gonna say that.
Yeah, no, it's not particularly great.
Alright, well, we
Yeah.
got
I'm
Ancestral
also looking at
Source.
the wizards.
Well, they're not wizards.
So-
They introduced a whole bunch of them.
And, I mean, yeah. But yeah, you guys like keep talking, but I'm reading
Yeah,
through those. 'Cause
I
that's what I'm most
actually like
interested in.
the Ancestral Sorcerer a lot.
Okay.
Oh god. To be fair, I also just like Sorcerer in this version a lot more because it's like useful in a lot of ways.
So okay, here's a good one.
So Counterspell for this one is a con save now.
But
So if you're
giving it
playing this, you give them
disadvantage.
disadvantage on the roll, which
Yeah,
is very
that-
good.
This makes Counterspell, even if it's not great, viable.
Yeah, it makes it a little bit better. It makes the spell magic a lot better as well because you get advantage on the check to end the spell.
Yeah. You always have them prepared. Pretty good.
Yeah, Hexblade again
Yeah.
as well.
So, didn't we already get one that printed Hexblade? I can't remember.
Yeah, I thought we already got on our.
No, so we did, but I think this is a better, more refined version.
So they
far.
looked
I
at the
think
one that
just
they
stuffed
made
it,
before,
yeah.
and they were like, "Well,
I think Hexblade
was-
was in the original like set of Unearthed Arcanas for this.
I hear they say this is an update since our last Unearthed Arcana." Yeah, you know, it was kind of bad before. How is
It's
this?
like pretty
I think it
good
was the
now.
horror subclasses, was it?
I think so. Yeah, the Hexblade's Curse I think is like largely the same, which is fine because Hexblade's Curse is already good.
Yeah, it was. So was this one Hexblade paid? Yeah, Hexblade.
You no
Warlock
longer
is
have
in
your
that.
weird little summon you used to be able to do that didn't really do anything.
Honestly, this book does have all the ones I like, all the subclasses I liked.
This
like
really,
the,
yeah. Sorry, finish that.
I was about to say I liked Hexblade. I liked the Arcane Archer, even if it was a little limited. I did like it, and I love Wizard, so I like. And I'm sad that they actually didn't include all of the subclasses for it.
Yeah, the main draw of Hexblade this time is every feature just kind of makes the curse better. And we got like a bunch of wizards.
Yeah, they finally got all those ones that they left out. Like, so you do you know how they came to the idea of which ones they were going to put in the book? Do you know that?
I do not know.
Yeah, so basically what they did is they took the most popular used subclasses on their D&D Beyond website, which was the stupidest idea because that means they picked the ones that were already good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's all like, oh, the ones that everyone wanted to updated now get absolutely no spotlight until later.
I
Yeah.
think, like, because there's a lot of them. The one I want to focus on is Necromancer, because Necromancer historically has been really bad in 5e.
Yeah, I still think
Animating
it's not
Dead is
amazing.
it's still not great, but one of the ones I point out, and I think this is a good shift. Undead Thralls is no longer Animate Dead; it's Summon Undead.
Yes.
So you do the Tasha Summon spell instead, which is a huge buff because it's actually useful.
Yeah, because you don't need a corpse.
You can cast it without expending a spell slot, and it doesn't take 10 minutes.
Man, it's almost like it's very good now in comparison to what it was.
This is still, I think, among the weaker of the choices, but
agree.
it's a lot more viable now.
Yeah.
So basically,
because,
it's probably...
I was about to say, you don't get to ignore necrotic damage until level 6, which is actually, in my opinion, still detrimental because 6 is still kind of late in the game and if you're doing an undead adventure, you're, you know,
Yeah.
good luck being a necromancer, you know?
The power of any wizard subclass is, of course, you're still a wizard, so you're still, on paper, the strongest caster in the game.
I think it's basically what we can say is it's playable, but it's not going to be a great.
And any wizard subclass is still going to be a decent enough damage dealer because
Yeah.
you're still a wizard.
You're still a wizard. You could just be a wizard and this. So, like,
Yeah.
even if you're
You could.
subclasses.
I would still probably prefer to play Transmuter or Abjuration Wizard or Divination Wizard over
Yeah, Transmuter
these others.
seems to be a little better.
This version of Transmuter is pretty good.
Yeah, because you get enhanced ability automatically, which is really nice. Rather than polymorph.
Yeah.
Which is, good, but...
Yep.
Yeah.
So, honestly, it looks like, pretty decent stuff if you are interested in using any of it. So, this might be a thing you should
But yeah, Enchanter's good, and Conjurer is nice. It's really nice that they added the Conjure spells. You can't lose concentration on Conjure spells.
Yeah.
Level 10.
Which is nice. It's still weird, and maybe not great, because summons are still kind of problematic in 5e. They're still kind of weird.
They're much less broken than they were in the original.
Yeah.
Namely because you can't summon 50 things, but...
Mm-hmm. They're less broken, and if you have a summon up until you're gonna be having your summon up versus having a better control spell like slow up.
Yeah.
So you're giving something up for basically how I have a do can smack things, which is useful sometimes.
It is good. So I think Conjuration is a very good wizard combo if you're going to be mostly a... first off, if you don't have a tank, and secondly, if you need a damage dealer. So basically, like you can be both the tank and the damage dealer with Conjure.
If you're gonna just spell sling versus control, your best bet is probably gonna be doing a summon build.
Yep. Yeah. So you summon and then you blast with like fireball and stuff, like single use things. So it's still very viable.
Yep. Still viable. Still good.
Mm-hmm.
Thumbs up. Well, a little bit of D&D related news goes out there. So the Horrified co-op board game is doing a D&D version, which I remember talking about this game because it was based on like Universal Monsters or something. They had a version of it.
Yeah.
So, that one. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be interesting that they're getting a D&D version.
Didn't we already talk about them getting a D&D version?
I don't remember.
We might have the base board game of this somewhere.
Maybe we got at least a date now, because it's August 10th that's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
So, just wanted to throw that one out there.
Thumbs up.
Let's see. I'm trying to see what it's...
So...
I mean, if we didn't... yeah. I'm pretty sure we did.
Again, like, sometimes when they announce things like a year ahead of time, and then we I see something again on it, I don't always remember that we talked about things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we did. Either we talked about that or we talked about, like a Cthulhu one, but it was one of those
We
two.
talked about something.
Problem is, we went kind of just talked about it all a bit, so I kind of don't remember which ones were.
Which. So, Daggerheart is getting 2 playtest classes.
Good.
Assassin.
You typed Daggerfall.
Daggerfall is a different game. You did.
It's fine. It's going to be correct in the description, so it's okay.
Everyone, I do think people should go and play Daggerfall. It is a very good game.
Look, again, not going to lie. I was away most of the day. I did this last night. I think I was tired and just did put this together.
I'm actually. Funny enough, I don't always read the topic title, so I'm glad I caught that one.
Yes, Witch, Assassin. God.
Thumbs up. Good. Add more content to your game. Please support it. Watching each competitor.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I think it's cool, and it's actually kind of a neat idea because of the way the way their spells work. Like you kind of just so they have like basically schools, and every class is a mixture of 2 schools of magic, basically, or 2 areas of expertise. I don't know, to spell the. Anyway, I forget what they're called. I could look it up, but I'll do that while I'm talking. And so the idea that you can honestly just shove a new thing in there in between 2 others and then make 2 new classes and a whole new set of options is actually a really neat idea. Because it's like it's a ring and everything is split is a combination of 2. So like each class is effectively in the middle of 2 schools of play. I don't know. Hold on.
Yeah.
What's it called? There's I will not find it there. Here. Rule book. Oh, yeah. They are called domains. Yeah, so it's got yeah, starting with 13 domains.
Yeah.
Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 domains. So yeah, the idea that you can add more in. And so like a sorcerer, for example, is a mixture of midnight and arcane. And then wizard is codex and arcane. No, wizard is codex and splendor. Anyway, but yeah, so they have these different like, and they're more like concepts than they are anything. And so the idea that you can shove one in between 2 others.
Okay, because which is
well,
Dread and Sage.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, Dread is new. Dread is the new one. Sage.
So I'm guessing Assassin's probably a Dread and something else then.
Yeah, probably. If I had to guess, Dread and Midnight.
Okay. It looks like they added some new ancestry, some new communities too. Some new. Oh yeah, you're right, man. Oh no, Assassin's Midnight Blade. And which is Dread and Sage.
Wait, hold on. Are these already?
No,
so Dread is new.
Yeah.
Sage, Midnight. Yeah, so Dread is new, and you said there's also Void, right?
No, Dread and Sage. And Assassin is Midnight and Blade.
Okay, Midnight and Blade. Okay, so they're actually doing cross things now. Okay, so they're basically going to mix and match. Okay, so the original classes are like each one is a combination of 2, and now they're just doing mix and matches where it's like Midnight and Blade, which are not next to each other in their circle, which is cool. I'm actually down with that.
Yeah, and 6 ancestry, 6 communities, and they also apparently did a new version of Warlock and Wall, which I guess were ones that had been playtesting before. So again, like, if anybody thinks about this, this is Unearthed Arcana for Daggerheart. Kind of thing.
Yep.
So for playtest material for probably put out new books with new stuff and eventually get to what they want to do.
Yeah, I'm down. I mean, I think Daggerheart is a well-made system.
Mm-hmm.
I would love a tactical add-on to them. Because they're basically... I'm someone who really loves maps and boards and tactical options, and it's very narrative-driven. But I know some games do have add-ons that actually add in some of that stuff, and I think it'd be cool for this. And I think it's possible given
the nature of it,
the way they handle things. Yeah.
For me,
I'd like that, but I don't know if they would.
On my list of games to try out at some point, which goes to mix around. This is pretty high person talk. There's one that I'm like, I want to try this out.
Yeah. Definitely something on my list too.
Cool. You go Daggerheart. You need to just try to kick wizards in the balls.
Honestly,
I guess Darrington Press kicks wizards in the balls.
Yep. True.
Yeah. Daggerheart's kicking D&D in the balls, whereas Darrington Press is kicking wizards in the balls.
Yeah. Alright. So, Tabletop Tycooon is rebranded. This is just a weird one because I think we've talked about him a few times for some stuff they've been doing in the past couple of weeks. That's why I thought, okay, I guess we can mention this thing. They're doing a few things. But they're going to be Tycoon games now? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
Star is changing to a heart, I guess, on their hat.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe they want to expand into other types of gaming outside of just tabletop. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah,
At least
it's better at their
gaming
growing
industry.
portfolio.
I don't know. Because they've been expanding much of their company with, like, they grabbed the Commons titles and get a new facility. Okay, here's the thing with this article that I didn't know. They opened a local arcade also, featuring pinball and
Nice.
arcade games.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Part of me also wonders if they got rid of it. They changed the star to a heart to kind of because the first look is very Texas, and the other one.
Yeah, you
Takes
don't
that
really
away a
want to
little
be.
bit.
You don't want to be Texas right now, wherever really.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's terrible, but I do agree that like if you are branching out, it's probably not the best to kind of push that as much.
He's stuck kind of like in. It's the thing is, it's the difference between something being your own kind of brand and being kind of connected with known stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just there is a certain. I don't know. Part of me views like if you're like, yeah, there's a certain expectation of stuff coming out of Texas, in a way, like.
Yeah. And again, like their idea for all this, which is a good one, is they want to be like, we are the games industry, like Tabletop Tycoon.
Mm-hmm.
It says something, but it doesn't say everything about what you're actually doing. Take Tycoon Games. Oh, hey, you make games.
Yeah, well, Tabletop Tycoon also is. You're a tycoon of tabletop.
It also sounds like you're a cheap knockoff video game from the 2000s.
It does.
Trying to cash in on
really
the
does.
Tycoon hype.
Oh gosh, I remember. Yeah, that was so annoying.
Uh,
Roller Coaster Tycoon, an amazing game that still runs on every system because it was
True.
coded in assembly.
So,
Still very playable.
So speaking of Come On Games, they are losing other IPs. On this side, apparently they're losing some in their Japanese branch of stuff. So this is an interesting one. A Mahjong company out of Japan has bought up a couple of the IPs from Come On's Japan brand, because they're expanding from just being Mahjong tables to being like other side things of like Mahjong related like board games and stuff like that. All in the thing of like spreading it. So it's like, oh, you could learn like a version of Mahjong from certain board games, and then maybe you want to try to like do the full thing, like simple version. So it's an interesting expansion for the company here, and they've gotten a lot of they're teaching concepts and strategies of Mahjong and getting accessibility, while they're probably still making Mahjong tables and stuff like that. But yeah, so apparently
well,
it's interesting.
These games are all very Mahjong coded anyway.
That's what I mean. They're trying to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure if you looked them up.
I only briefly did, so I didn't really dive deep into how Mahjong coded they are overall.
Yeah. The first two, I can't find anything on the third one. Google's not giving me any results, but the first two, literally both have their core mechanics derived from at least Mahjong pieces.
So currently, Kikasai and Yaochu were from Japan brands, which was purchased by Come On in 2004. So it's more of the launch song off IPs. And the other one was purchased from Sukurokuya. And yeah, this is Mahjong Pro moving from just being we make tournament grade Mahjong equipment. This year they're being like, so apparently they've also been doing Mahjong manga and game IPs. So, and these are premium games. So they're like, our entire thing is Mahjong. Let's just dive deep into it. Let's just go all out. And I respect that.
You're doing something.
So Kikasai is it's a dice game that's similar to played in the way Mahjong is. It's like you're trying to make matching sets of die by rolling. So it's if I had to argue, it sounds like it's a mixture of Mahjong and Yahtzee.
So it makes sense that it's kind of teaching those basic concepts so that you go deeper into more hardcore.
Yeah. And then the Suzumejong seems to be I'm trying to figure out from this one has a very short description. I'm trying to figure out from pictures. Okay, as weird as it sounds, it kind of almost sounds like a mixture of Texas Hold'em and Mahjong. Where there's like bits in the middle, and you're trying to change out the ones in the middle in your hand with the ones in your hand. So it's like there's kind of that shared pool kind of concept from Texas Hold'em, and then you get like you're also trying to make sets, so it's almost like a poker. So it's like poker, yeah. So that's where I get that kind of Texas Hold'em poker vibe. So,
and I found Yaosho. It's basically beginner's Mahjong, so I'd say. It uses the ones, nines, and honor piles, and then you form them. So it's less topples. You form an 8-card hand, and you each have 25 points to take from plays. The game when all players have taken turns to either deal or twice, or when someone's score drops to 0. So, I mean, like, that is very Mahjong coded, so it is like a easier version of Mahjong.
Yeah.
I forget how to play Mahjong. I learned how to play a while ago, and it was fun,
so
but I completely forget.
Every time a new Yakuza game comes out, I have to relearn how to play this truly horrific game.
I've seen some people play is it like Mahjong Soul or something a few times, and then like I kind of understand the basics of it, but there's a lot of strategy that I'm like, I don't know how. Also, I do remember many years ago, I think it was the anime Saki? I watched that one. It was a Mahjong anime.
Yeah, Mahjong and Shogi both deeply upset me as games.
2000,
because
Mahjong
forced to do them in Yakuza.
That's 16 years ago that anime came
Yeah.
out.
Time marches forward, old man.
No, it really does. Anyway, there's Mahjong for today. I can talk about more. Oh, I did switch over.
We can talk about some Warhammer stuff.
So what was this? I guess we'll start with the first thing. The breaking news.
The weird advert. So like they're just fully. It's not really like super important news, but for the new Horus Heresy stuff, they've just like fully gone into. We're just gonna make 80s toy advertisements for our products, and honestly, it's really good. I can grab the latest one that went up, which I recommend actually watching it. 'Cause it's just really funny. Here you go. Posted here. They've just like fully been like, we're just gonna embrace the fact that we're basically a toy company.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
It's pretty good.
You know, it's. I now saw. What was it, Monday? That Krendor talking to Jesse Cox and telling him about playing Warhammer physical game.
Yeah, it's very expensive.
That was a hell of a dive.
The heavily market the like split market test groups and doing all this stuff has really taken the soul out of like commercials. I do miss these kind of.
It used to just be fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a really the first trailer is also just full of like a lot of really good community jokes for Warhammer. Like there's a bit on like the little newscasty headline banner at the bottom that it just says Ferrus Manos gets ahead, and then it just cuts off there because the joke is Ferrus Manos, so the only thing he contributes is getting decapitated in the franchise. So yeah, people just love that joke, and I saw a lot of really upset fans of the Iron Hands or whatever the fuck they're called. Ooh, anyways, that's just silly marketing.
Yeah, that's pretty amusing. Yeah, that's neat.
Cubicle
Honestly,
7 Games is doing a role-playing game for Warhammer Old World, which is the basically original fantasy setting, but like cleaned up a little bit.
I know about that now, thanks to that video, what the difference between these things are. Thanks.
Yeah,
telling me, Krendor.
Age of Sigmar is like, it's a little different. And by little, I mean a lot different.
So, like, well...
I mean, I'd still really love to play some kind of online version of Warhammer.
It's hard to find, tragically.
Oh, I know.
The closest you can get, I think, is there's stuff on Tabletop Sim.
No, I know. That's honestly the only thing I've seen too.
But Cubicle 7, their other Warhammer games are quite good. And this is releasing, I think, next month. So I'm very excited for it, even though I'm not the biggest fantasy Warhammer fan. I think fantasy is fantasy goes in some weirder directions sometimes, and I am one of the people who does think that it was good that they kind of put a little cap on it and then made Age of Sigmar and then now are doing this version. Because the old fantasy gets a little bit like not okay with some of its stuff. Because it was designed in the 80s.
80s. There's so many times you just like have to like look and be like, "Yep, that's the 80s."
we love insensitive media.
Yep. It's the 80s.
Space Marine 2 is getting its Horde mode updates. AKA, it's already got it. I got it like 2 days ago. So hey, there's more reason to go play Space Marine 2. Great video game. You can now play a non-story based mode where you just kill things. And honestly, that's the best part of the game because the story's kind of a bit mid. It also came with more cosmetic DLCs, which you shouldn't buy because they're ripoffs. Don't encourage that kind of behavior. I know people are gonna buy them anyways.
Yeah.
I got to rant. Yeah, I could rant about it for a while, but I do hate that they're just like, we're just gonna restrict these popular chapters to being DLCs that cost $10 each.
What is this for?
Space Marine 2.
Oh, right, the game, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, it's for the multiplayer if you want to play certain Space Marine.
If you wanted to play the Blood Angels, for example, which are quite possibly the most popular faction, they're a $10 DLC. Oh, sorry, they're only $5. They lowered the price from them, I guess.
So now,
good sign. It's mixed reviews on Steam.
Yeah, I mean, that just reminds me of, like, we did kind of prove that if we all band together and make a big enough stink, companies will change things, like with Helldivers 2 and the whole paid the thing where they had to switch to where you had to pay for a
Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Or whatever.
That victory was only like a month ago. The actual victory.
Yeah.
Because they got rid of the thing where you had to like get into the PlayStation stuff. But what they did was they restricted it only to countries that had the PlayStation Network stuff. Until like a month ago. Now you can play it again everywhere. Again.
Yeah. I'm totally just not bitter about the fact that my favorite Space Marine chapter, the White Scars, cost $10 to play in this game.
I respect veterans. Thank you.
Well, I just want to play
the Space Wolves paid?
No, the Space Wolves are just in the game.
Well, I could play this game then.
I just want to play my Mongolian jet bike riders. That's all I want.
Yeah.
I just like the furry chapter.
There's 2 furry chapters, technically.
What's
There's also
the other?
salamanders, which are
them.
there's the Raven Guard, which are birds. There's the salamanders, who I think cost $10 to play. And you got the wolves, and then I think those are the 3 furries.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the wolves actually like wear fur.
And that's true. They do have the really stupid wolf helmet.
And some of
the
them
Raven Guard have the beak helmets.
I'm just saying they actually also like tame dogs and stuff.
They do have giant dogs that they ride into battle.
Where's our canonical, because it exists, 40k cat girls?
Well, it depends on. I think they want to like ignore that because the internet's not ready for either version that could exist. Because in lore, see, people think that the 40k cat girls are like the anime cat girls, when in reality they're actually like 8-foot tall, buff
They're-
cat women. The internet
I-
isn't ready to handle that.
I would akin
So-
them more to like the cat people from Star
They're
Trek.
they're just
Or Khajiit,
really
yeah.
big and buff,
Yeah.
and full on furry.
Yeah. Also, we don't have like the halflings either. We get the ogrins in.
No, we
in
do have
Dark Tide.
halflings. There are halflings. They're called ratlings.
I know ratlings. That's what I mean. Do we have playable ratlings anywhere?
Playable in the tabletop.
But,
They are
hey,
sniper
Dark
units.
Tide. You can have a ratling there. You can be tiny.
Fun fact about ratlings: they are, I believe, the only Imperial race that has ever assassinated a Tau Ethereal.
Hmm.
Because they are that good of snipers. So that's cool. We've got Dark Tide released the Arbites update. You can live out your best Judge Dredd fantasies, because they really are just Judge Dredd characters.
You also
The
have a
launch
dog.
trailer is... You do get a dog. You can put all of your skill points into the dog, and it's very funny.
He's like dog.
So you can just
stuff.
be like, you can just have your bulletproof shield and move forward slightly, and in the background the dog just zooming between enemies, one-shotting them.
I like this concept. And it's very funny.
And then Rogue Trader also got the Lex Imperialis DLC, which is all about the most exciting part of Warhammer and the Imperial bureaucracy. It's the bureaucracy update, where you can play a Adeptus Arbites. And I haven't gotten to the DLC yet because Rogue Trader is a very long game, and I don't have time to play video games. But in the trailer for this DLC, there is a bit where literally they put like a physical giant representation of the Scales of Justice with a dude in front of it on an execution platform weighing his crimes, and the method of execution is a giant laser pointed directly at him. Which is very funny. But I will say, I have played a little bit with the Arbites Origin. You get an ability that lets you one-hand, two-handed shotguns. So you can just run around with 2 shotguns and just start blasting, which is very funny. The dog that you get is very broken and overpowered, but in Rogue Trader, you're going to be kind of hard-pressed to find something that isn't broken and overpowered, because it's not a very well-balanced game. Which is, I think, fine, personally. It's single-player experience. Doesn't need to be hard. But, yeah, I think there's a Spiffing Brit video where he showed off this class and got paid to do it, and he just put all of the nice pre-made named characters into the ship and played with 6 of the Arbites class, so he basically had 12 characters.
Because each had a dog.
Because each had a dog. They're very broken, and the dog can one-shot the final boss, but that's not saying much, because about anything can one-shot the final boss in this game. Which is, it's a little disappointing, but it's also kind of funny. Maybe when they make the next game, they'll learn not to make most of the buff stack to 99 instances of the buff. And also maybe not have all the buffs be a flat number increase in a game where your maximum number is 100.
I'm not going to lie. My experience with Alcat and a lot of stuff they think they're just going to do it again. They didn't learn lessons from Pathfinder. Why did they learn lessons from the Doom War?
Dark Heresy is going to be just as unbalanced, and honestly, it's fine. I'm okay with it.
Alright. Well.
That was all the Warhammer news.
Yep. I guess, Norm, if you want to just give your little spiel on the Shining Kingdom map thing, even though it wasn't very important, might as well.
Yeah, I can. It's pretty neat. I got the Shining Kingdoms map posters in the book in the mail today. Apparently, it was part of I didn't realize it was part of. Normally, they have a separate thing for accessories, but apparently this was part of the subscription to their their Lost Omens series. But yeah, so I put my other ones in here because I put my TNZ. I'm like, oh, this is a good place to put my TNZ stuff instead of shoving it in the back of the TNZ book. But yeah, they have big maps of every location. For example, Endurin, so it's pretty cool. But I think what's really cool is they have a map of every capital city on the back. So, yeah. So, and they have this for literally every location or every location in the Shining Kingdoms. And then they have what's cool is in the back of the book they actually have in the back of the Shining Kingdoms book they had a map, a labeled map with all the stuff. But in this collection they also have a map with no labels on it, so it's just the map, which I think is neat. I also thought that was neat.
Honestly, there's so many times that I would love to have a copy of a map like that, where I'm like, man, this would be so useful.
Yeah, if they didn't put little markers on that labeled everything.
Yeah, sometimes you need that.
Anyway, that's about it. It's neat. It's got some cool stuff in it, but ultimately,
it's a map.
It's really only useful if you're going to be GMing in Galarian.
Yeah. Unless you're using that region, probably not useful. But as I think I was saying at the beginning, it's probably updates on some of those maps may be new, but plenty of those maps probably.
I feel like most of anything, if they updated it, was mostly just stuff that were changed in the remaster.
I think there are some of those capitals that probably you didn't get pictures of, so that's good there. But I think most of the countries we at least had a general map of. So an updated map is cool. Because again, that's 2010 that some of these came out in for this region. So,
Yep.
I'll just do our Geek Gaming call this week. It's been a long day for me.
Fair.
Did anybody do anything last Sunday?
I did not. I didn't do anything Sunday.
Did you choose
Yes. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I got the phone notification that you guys had a call start.
It was just we had done all the exploring last time, and so this time it was just some fights where we fought a couple of Zorns and then a Boulay, and then I don't think we finished the fight. Did we get started the fight with the?
We literally walked into the room, and that's where we ended. I think we rolled initiative, and that's where we ended.
Yeah. Sure. So, there we go. Thank you. I could see it coming, or hear it coming, feel it coming. I don't know. That's brain.
Oof. Gross.
Anyway, cool. I didn't do anything on Monday.
Rivers game. We are doing a cool thing where we're going inside of a crashed spaceship, and it's full of horrors beyond our comprehension, and we found a computer that told us the flesh was weak. A little bit weird. It's been an awful time. It's mostly just horrible flesh machine monstrosities. I don't remember why we're going into the spaceship. It's been 4 weeks since we got this quest, because we had to take, I think, a week or two off. So I don't remember why we're there. I think we're getting a weapon to kill elves with, because we all hate elves, and elves are evil.
Huh. This just seems like such an interesting story direction. Not gonna lie.
It's been a little weird.
So, yup. All right then. How about anybody do anything on Tuesday?
We had Lightning's game where I was interrogated severely as my new character because they do not trust me. And they found out I'm actually pretty chill despite being a demon. Shocker how that works. Not all demons are evil. They're just racist. And we left the planet, we went to space, and we went to an abandoned space station, and we found some stuff. And we're gonna find more stuff next session, and we're going to land on this planet where the Magical Academy game takes place at the same time as the Magical Academy game is going
Welcome,
on.
new
So
citizen of
there
the
is a
Empire.
chance we will kill Perrin and free him from his torment.
I can only hope. I can only hope that Perrin will have a final end and be able to rest. No, the thing is, here's the thing. Perrin's just going to get isekai to another world then.
That's true.
He was dying last time he got isekai, so
That's true.
every time he dies, he goes to a new world.
Really funny because River didn't consider this possibility. On the world we left, because we for some reason, Lighting Cell and I have this stupid joke about if there's ever a car in a D&D game, it's just a Honda Accord. I don't know why we have this joke, but it happens every time. So River now has to prepare for the inevitability of the fact that on the world we came from, we found a Honda Accord and made it functional and took it with us. So River's going to have to, at some point, make some NPCs have seen a Honda Accord on this, like, Renaissance-era planet. And just 4 weirdos driving around in it, shooting guns at demons.
That's the thing.
This is why you don't mix your genres. Because it gets a little bit weird.
Yeah, you know.
Weird or fun?
I mean, it is really funny that there's going to be, like, some halflings somewhere that have now witnessed a 2004 Honda Accord in their land.
Yep. That's
I
the
kind of
thing.
wonder if did that start? I'm kind of wondering if that joke started from the like I offer you an accord meme.
I don't remember. I think it started because we did like an Earth game, and I think we had a Honda Accord in that game because it was because a Honda Accord's the most common car in America, as we've learned upon looking it up, or at least it was at the time when we played that game. So I think that's where it came from. We didn't have that Honda Accord for long because Cell's character crashed out and faked their own death and blew up the car. So Cell like blew up our car. That was really not cool of him.
I had a Honda Accord.
That game got weird. I think we were all in a weird headspace when we played that game.
Currently, it's Ford F-Series pickup trucks.
That doesn't surprise me. The Americans love trucks that are way too big and dangerously unsafe.
Yep.
Honda Accord is still the top-selling sedan, though.
That's fair. It's a good car. It's reliable.
I've had a Honda before. So.
Fairly affordable as well.
So we had a Wednesday game, and I think it went relatively well. They found basically. So here's the easy way to describe it: the space of operations that they had gone into and killed a bunch of people. Turns out the people they were fighting decided to abandon that place afterwards, and one of the ways that they made it hostile is they basically set poison in the place.
Nice.
Yeah, that's where this poison
Classic.
gas was. They also found out that like a bunch of creatures that were like left behind there that were experiments. Turns out they just left them there in the poison.
Yep.
Made them a little crazy. I was actually describing it that their eyes were glazed and they were drooling. No, Talos is still there.
I was trying to pull a fast one, but okay.
Anyway, it's fine. You did manage to capture a poor, horrible, drugged-up monstrosity, and you basically sealed it away in a box.
We didn't handle it very well. We really should have. We really should have just shoved the poison into like its mouth while it was in the puddle and then dumped it back in the thing and then picked it back up out of the thing.
The thing is, you made a lot of decisions, and they were hilarious, but not good.
So you like put the dude in the box?
Well,
So basically, they were super aggressive, and so we suffocated it using water, and then we pulled it out of the water. But mechanically, apparently, it wakes up within like a minute, like within a few seconds after.
Unless you get it to like right
again.
before death, as soon as it has air and it has hit points, it gets up. Because once it runs out of air, it starts taking damage. And I'm like, you can make a medicine check to try to judge it. No one made the check.
Yeah, we all failed.
We guesstimate when to take it out.
Yep. And then Joe was like, oh, maybe we should just leave it in there. I'm like, come on, we rolled. Our characters couldn't figure it out. And we also don't want to kill it, because I feel like the opposite of we think it's okay, and then we continue, it dies. Yeah. So basically, we then end up having Talus have to wrestle it. He did actually get close to death. We're like, pin it, and then you
were basically wrestling a combination. It was like a cassowary, cheetah, badger. So it was a toothed bird monster with like claws and really weird. And so it was just kind of like you had its body and it was just biting you in the shoulder a lot.
Yeah, and then I shoved some poisoned meat into its mouth, and we tried to have you hold it down until it the paralysis meat took effect, but the paralysis potion that we put on the meat took effect, but we ended up just knocking it out first. So
it was just apparently more efficient just to knock it out.
Yep.
So you did capture that, and then you were like, well, how do we get out of here with this crate with really poor wheels we put on it outside of this place when the main entrance we exited for has collapsed, and the other way is a slick ramp. Horrible Shadowy Doom portal.
Yep. So we went through the horrible Shadowy Doom portal and figured out how to like get through to the other side. Although in doing so, Joe failed the will save and saw a vision of the Dreadlord. I still feel very bad because I misheard something. I thought there were 2 figures, not like 12, which is why I thought it was like the 2 dead gods that were accompanying him, or But then but once I realized it was 12 people standing behind him, I'm like, oh yeah, no, that would be obvious. I'm an idiot, so I feel bad for influencing his decision to say the other thing, because I just misheard.
Yes. It's fine. It's just the fact that, like, I gotta be honest, it was Joe failing that, and Joe being Joe's character, because Joe can talk to spirits. So Joe's the one character that probably could have tapped him more than others,
Yep.
So, it was an interesting scene, driven by the circumstances. Because I was always going to have, if you failed, you would have alerted the Dreadlord. Joe doing it, I'm like, Joe would probably get a little bit of
talk to him.
Talk to him.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Basically, they gave Joe the option of turning against all of you and becoming evil and joining them.
That would have been fun.
Yeah. Joe's species has probably not been treated very well. Unfortunately, this is like, hey, you guys got kind of the shaft, humans, dwarves, and elves kind of are assholes. They proved it at
That's
the time.
true, though. That's just factually correct. Elves suck.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So, fun times. And now they went through. They've exited a portal. They moved its exit. You don't know where that's moved to, so they're going to get out of.
We moved it out of. Yeah.
Yeah.
All we know is we moved it away from wherever it was before to nearby, which hopefully is far enough away from whatever base it was connected to for the enemy that we can then escape.
Yep. We'll see how that goes. That'll be fun.
I'm expecting us just to fall like 10 feet out of the side of like a fortress or something, and it'll be like, hey, what are those people appeared there? And it'll be like, crap.
Mm-hmm. I didn't do anything on Thursday.
I played Magic one of those days. I don't really remember.
I did a little magic this week too. Tried out some random decks here and there. Some interesting things.
Built an investigate deck, and I kind of like that mechanic. I think it's the only good thing that maybe came from the clue set or whatever that set was.
Here's the thing. They made it better, but it was around investigate. Everybody forgets that it was part of the second Innistrad set.
Oh, true.
Where they were looking for Emrakul. We're going to investigate Emrakul. Eldritch
Cool.
Hearts.
That's so cool of them.
But yeah, though, they did a good job with the investigate mechanics in the detective set. That's the only good thing. So you like investigation, you made it, did more stuff with it. Anything on Friday? We did our game. We did discover the base kept being our grounded base kept being like load bearing in weird ways.
Well, okay, so yeah, no, it was definitely glitching out because first we couldn't get it to load bear on something other than like this one spot, which was very dangerous because it was like one of the few spots that was touching the ground. Which, you know, for the fact that things can attack your base is a problem. Then, after I finally fixed that, it glitched out and made every single piece load bearing. So if one piece got broken, one piece of the base got broken, the entire thing would fall apart. Which happened. I had to reload a save. But it was 100% a glitch. After though it broke and reloaded, because I tried reloading once before that, and it didn't work. But then when it broke from an enemy and then I reloaded, it then went back to actually being appropriately load bearing, and I was able to fix it up so that nothing was touching the ground anymore. Gosh, that was a nightmare.
It was hilarious. Definitely considering like the baseball's a fun kind of early base, but I do think like the idea of maybe moving it somewhere else.
Oh, I just thought of, okay, I need to write this down. I just thought of a great name for that episode, Base Jenga.
Did you have your game earlier today?
I did. Give me one second. I'm writing this down. Come on, load up. There we are. Okay. Yeah, so I did have it earlier. Basically, there's just a lot more fighting. We're in a, now we're in like a underground temple, to some kind of evil deity. And we are exploring, and literally every room has a bunch of undead in it. There is a, it's been fine. Funny enough, the only damage I took so far was because someone decided to burn some evil tapestry that then released a toxic miasma. So it was a party member basically that damaged me. Also, I used, the GM allows for people to pay, you know, it's 500 bits to give someone a reroll. And I used one of my rerolls, and I went from a 5 to a 1 on a roll on the die. So that was a waste. Yep. Yep.
Sounds like it was interesting eventually. None the least, God, my ability to speak English has really been damaged today. Alright. That's probably a good place to end today, where my brain still works. Yeah. Thank you, everybody who joined us today. Should be back, hopefully, to a more normal time, normal everything next week. Sure to check these people out. Check out, I guess, Worm if you want to do
yeah. I'm DiamondWyrm. You can find me on twitch.tv/DiamondWyrm or at DiamondWyrm on Twitter and Blue Sky, and DiamondWyrm9234 on YouTube. I'll be streaming tomorrow. Currently I've been streaming Fridays at 5 p.m. PDT and 5:30 p.m. PDT, and Sundays at 10:30 a.m. PDT. You can also find me on All Dragons channel on Saturdays at 8 a.m. PDT, and 9 a.m. PDT, and on the Dracovin Empires channel on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. PDT.
Yeah, here. I don't think do you have anything?
I don't exist on the internet anymore.
Myself, I will most likely be back Tuesday if there's some kind of change in schedule or something. It's going to be this weekend. I'll let you know. Otherwise, I'll definitely be back on Wednesday for some tabletop related stuff. Of course, check out Fall Down as well. I hate that. And make sure to join us next week at 6 for this show. Check out the beat link below. Do the various things over at wherever you are for support the channel. And hey, have a good rest of your weekend, rest of your day, and stay safe, stay cool in the summers. If you are, I guess, in the northern hemisphere, in the southern hemisphere, stay warm. Yes, you know, you're winter. Yes. Am I right? No, I'm correct. Correct. Everybody have a great day. Bye.
Bye.